José Zorrilla y Moral was a Spanish romantic poet and dramatist. Biography. Moral was born in Valladolid to a magistrate in whom Ferdinand VII placed special confidence. He was educated by the Jesuits at the Real Seminario de Nobles in Madrid, wrote verses when he was 12, became an enthusiastic admirer of Walter Scott and Chateaubriand, and took part in the school performances of plays by Lope de Vega and Calderón de la Barca. In 1833 he was sent to study law at the University of Toledo, but after a year of idleness, he fled to Madrid, where he horrified the friends of his absolutist father by making violent speeches and by founding a newspaper which was promptly suppressed by the government. He narrowly escaped transportation to the Philippines, and passed the next few years in poverty. The death of the satirist Mariano José de Lara brought Zorrilla into notice. His elegiac poem, read at Lara's funeral in February 1837, introduced him to the leading men of letters. In 1837 he published a book of verses, mostly imitations of Alphonse de Lamartine and Victor Hugo, which was so favorably received that he printed 6 more volumes within 3 years. After collaborating with Antonio Garcia Gutierrez on the play Juan Don Dollar, Zorrilla began his individual career as a dramatist with Cardicule con su razón, and during the next 5 years he wrote 22 plays, many of them extremely successful. His Cantos del Trovador, a collection of national legends written in verse, made Zorrilla second only to José de Espronceda in popular esteem. National legends also supply the themes of his dramas, which Zorrilla often constructed by adapting older plays that had fallen out of fashion. For example, in El Zapatero y el Rey he recasts El Montañés Juan Pascual by Juan de la Hoz y Mota. In La Megital and La Espada he borrows from Agustín Moreto y Cavanna's Travesuras del Estudiante para Tolia. His famous play Don Juan Tenorio is a combination of elements from Tirso de Molina's Burlador de Sevilla and from Alexandre Dumas' Paris Don Juan de Miranda. However, plays like Sancho Garcia, El Rey Loco, and El Alcalde Ronquillo are much more original. He considered his last play, Traidor Inconfeso y Martir, his best play. Upon the death of his mother in 1847, Zorrilla left Spain, resided for a while at Bordeaux, and settled in Paris, where his incomplete poem Granada was published in 1852. In a fit of depression, he emigrated to America 3 years later, hoping, he claimed, that yellow fever or smallpox would kill him. During 11 years in Mexico he wrote very little. He returned to Spain in 1866, to find himself half forgotten and considered old-fashioned. Friends helped Zorrilla obtain a small post, but the Republican minister later abolished it. He was always poor, especially for the 12 years after 1871. The publication of his autobiography, A Recuerdos del Tiempo Viejo in 1880, did nothing to alleviate his poverty. Though his plays were still being performed, he received no money from them. Finally, in his old age, critics began to reappraise his work, and brought him new fame. He received a pension of 30,000 reals, a gold medal of honor from the Spanish Academy, and, in 1889, the title of National Laureate. He died in Madrid on the 23rd of January 1893. In his early years, Zorrilla was known as an extraordinarily fast writer. He claimed he wrote El Caballo del Rey Don Sancho in 3 weeks, and that he put together El Puñal del Gordo in 2 days. This may account for some of the technical faults, redundancy and verbosity in his works. His plays often appeal to Spanish patriotic pride, and actors and audiences have enjoyed his effective dramaturgy. Don Juan Tenorio is his best-known work.